Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed members of the community and fellow residents, today I stand before you with a bright vision of an inclusive future for our town. Our community is a tapestry woven in diverse threads, each bringing their unique perspective and strengths to the fabric of our society. It is my belief that by embracing ideals and representation, sustainability, growth, senior support, and mental health, we can not only enhance the lives of our residents, but also ensure a thriving and harmonious environment for generations to come. It is crucial that our voices of our women and young generations are fully integrated into our local decision-making process. Our community is diverse in its demographics, and it's time that our governance reflects the diversity by inviting women and young individuals to interact, actively participate in the decision-making. We ensure a more holistic and balanced approach to addressing the needs of all our community members. Sustainability is a commitment to preserving our environment, securing our prosperous future. We must develop a comprehensive and forward-thinking strategies that encourage responsible growth while minimizing the ecological footprint. By investing in renewable energy, promoting green infrastructure, and supporting local sustainable businesses, we can become a model of the environmental stewardship for our neighboring communities. Our seniors are the pillar of this community, and it is our duty to ensure their well-being and their comfort. We must work towards creating more senior-friendly programming, awareness, and affordable housing, and accessibility to support services. Our elders deserve a life of dignity, respect, and opportunity to continue to contribute their wisdom and experiences to our town's growth. The daily challenges proposed by our modern life can take a toll on our mental health and well-being. It is time we address these issues head-on by expanding mental health resources, launching awareness campaigns, and opening conversations without judgments so that we can foster an environment that supports mental health and offers helping hand to those in need.
What's that?
Oh my God. So I thank you all for your support, and I hope to be able to speak for our community as a collective. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll have Mike Dodman.
Hi there. My name obviously is Mike. As I said in my bio, I'm a 20-year military vet. Then I retired, moved here 25 years ago. I served on council previously at 2007 to 2010. That's when we built this beautiful facility here. I think the town has progressed just as it should, slow and steady. I also believe that the environment is important, but we have to be cautious in how much money we spend everywhere. If we spend too much money everywhere, we don't have enough for anything. So being conscious of how we spend the town's money, which is the people's money, is very important. I think as a collaborative, the council makes decisions, and I'm sure that the councils that have been since mine have made decisions based on not only environment, as we've seen by the panels on the roof of this building, but also within the taxpayer's grasp. I'm offering myself as a council member just to add a steady and calm voice to the arguments, I guess, some. But mostly to just be collaborative and keep the town moving in the direction it's going, which has been, in the last 25 years, just amazing. Thank you.
Okay, Rob Burton is next.
Good evening. My name is Rob Burton. I'd like to start by thanking you for the gift of your time, especially tail end of summer. Still nice outside. I'm sure we'd all, I appreciate you folks being here and folks that are online. I'm going to begin my introduction with a question, and it's a little unorthodox, but bear with me. So here's my question is, what motivates you? I've been a teacher for 24 years. I know what you're saying is like, how could you be a teacher for 24 years, Rob? You look so young. In my time as a teacher, I've asked that question many, many times, what motivates people? And I feel that finding what motivates my students is critical to what is to helping them grow. Time and time again, the answer to this question is connection, right? Is people are capable of so much when they feel connected to their community, right? And building relationships and trust with people is the first and most important part of my career and what I do as my living in my life. It's the creed I live by. So let me segue into why I'm here and ask me that question. Rob, what motivates you? I haven't lived in Penhold very long. I've only been here a little over a year. But I feel like when my wife and I moved to this community, we won the neighbor lottery. We feel more welcome and part of this community after 1 year of living here than we did for 16 years of living in the north end of Red Deer. I love this exceptional little town. The Mom and Pa's Bakery, the Jiu-Jitsu studio, parades, community events, the school, the people here, the firefighters. It is an amazing little town that has embraced us and welcomed us with open arms, and we love it. My wife Tammy who's also a teacher, is starting. She just transferred to Jesse Duncan. My son's going to Penn X. So we're planting roots in this community. So yeah, I feel connection to Penhold. I'm motivated to work with town council and my neighbors in this community to continue to make this place amazing. I believe in servant leadership. I'd love to bring my experience I've lived overseas for years, my passion for collaboration, a fresh perspective, my community and this innovation that I have to the town council table. So I've got a favorite saying, or one of my favorite sayings. Best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is today. And I've planted my roots in Penhold, and I would be honored to be chosen to represent and to help grow this community for the next 20 years. And that's what I got to say about that. Thank you for your time.
Cameron Galiski.
I would like to start off by giving some credit to our impeccable maintenance folks who, as you noticed, were trying to give the doors some grease, and God bless them for it. Thank you for coming here this evening, folks. My name is Cameron Galiski, and I'd also like to thank the organizers for hosting this spectacular event. Simply being here shows you all care so much about our community with the same passion all of these fantastic candidates do. And for that, I give my thanks to you. Tonight, I'm excited to share with you a little about myself and also what I'd like to do when elected to serve with the rest of our fantastic council. I'm a fifth-generation Central Albertan, and I've been a proud citizen of Penhold since 2009. Like many of you, my family moved here because of Penhold's stellar community spirit and affordability. It has been a privilege to watch our town blossom over the years as more and more families chose to make our town their home and more businesses came with them. Oh, pauses. Penhold has given so much to me throughout my life, and I've always felt it is my duty to pay it back to our town. The sense of duty has taken me into a life of public service, which I've pursued since I was 16, and this choice of career has taken me many places, be it serving in the halls of power at the Provincial Assembly to assist in making laws, working as a constituency assistant that would help constituents interact with their MLA and get the help they need, to my most current job working under the Minister of Transportation and Economic Corridors, helping Albertans by improving our highways and making sure we're planning well into the future. The people of Penhold pay some of the highest taxes for a municipality in Central Alberta, but we also value and appreciate the services that these taxes provide. Having always been a strong fiscal conservative, I believe that when times are tough on family purses, like with the present cost of living crisis, it's the government's duty to find efficiencies and to make sure that the quality of services that we come to expect are not degraded, but instead improved. If you're looking for a counselor who brings a fresh yet experienced perspective to our council, someone who knows the value of your tax dollars and has a mindset of teamwork in building up our community, I would be honored to have your support, like so many of my neighbors and fellow penholders have already given me. Like Winston Churchill once famously said, I offer you nothing but my blood, toil, tears, and sweat. I look forward to your questions this evening. Thank you very much.
Brandon Pringle.
I didn't know I had to give up blood.
Don't worry, it's already positive.
All right, great. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. My name is Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Don't forget that. I don't want to be a politician. Politics comes from the Greek, poly meaning many, and ticks meaning blood-sucking creatures. I just want to represent the average person that is on the street. When I've been talking to people, they'd say, well, there's not a speed limit sign here. We're concerned about our kids walking across the street. We're concerned about this. We're concerned about this. I send 10 to 15 emails a month to the government. And our current sports person in government is the only one in the last 6 months that's actually replied. So if you send me an email, you can bet it that I'll be answering that, because that's one of the reasons I'm running. People need to get back to serving. I remember a time when the people were called public servants because they were serving in the community. My experience is I've been a concierge. It's pretty fun, juggling, making dinner reservations for Lou Holtz, and then running over here for a Hollywood director who comes to you and says, I need the script in LA from Calgary by 5. FedEx doesn't do that, so you got to think on your feet. I've managed 18 million a year in sales of 35 staff. The current council is doing an exceptional job. I looked at the finances and I think they're doing an incredible job. I do feel though that I can be a good, solid contributor to take over where Mike left off. So thanks very much, and look forward to speaking to you afterwards.
All right, thank you very much, everybody. So like I said, everyone's going to get the same question first, so I'll say it once. It's also written up there on the board, but your first question, and we'll start back with Samantha, is what is your vision for Penhold 20 years from now?
Well, that's, I wasn't expecting questions, but 20 years from now, like to see more inclusivity, more homes for seniors, more support for every person in this community, and a voice, a place, a platform where people can come and voice their concerns, that they can be heard. That was pretty much what I would like to see in the next 20 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike Dodman.
Oh, 20 years from now. Well, hopefully I'm still here. I mean, I will live here until I go, but 20 years from now, a town probably with twice the population, but the same small town feel. As it's going, you can see the connected pathways, you can see the communities coming together, and 20 years from now, twice the size, same spirit. Thank you.
Rob Burton.
Years from now, my kids will have moved out and gone on to do bigger, better, badder things. I feel like a community like Penhold is one that draws the kids back in once they've Once they've gone on to do bigger, better, better, once they've gone on, and you know, we know that a lot of kids move out of small towns once they've graduated, once they've gone. The thing I'd like to see from Penfold 20 years from now is to bring them back, is to have it continue to be that community where young people find their way back into the community, where it's open to a diverse range of ages and demographics. Yeah, that's where I see Penfold in 20 years, is that kind of a place where you would still continue to come and raise your family. It will have grown, it's going to have steady growth, and that's a wonderful thing, but still have that community feeling that makes it home. Reasonable?
Cam Galiski.
Thank you, Mike. 20 years from now, that's an interesting concept. When we're trying to examine where we're going to be, we should first look at where we've been. After all, the motto of this town is honoring the past and challenging the future. What is the methods that succeeded in bringing people here? It was affordability. It was the ability to raise your family here in a safe and caring environment and have all the regional amenities of being closer to Red Deer. When I look at our town 20 years from now, I want to see a Penfold that has housing and opportunities for people of all ages. People of my age of 24 to folks like, for example, Linda there in the crowd. Love you, Linda. But when it comes to that, we need to continue looking at how we can keep people in the community, keep business in the community. The more money that we have folks in Penfold spending in our town, keeping the money here, we'll be able to provide better services. We'll be able to challenge new opportunities. We'll be able to find ourselves perhaps 20 years from now in a town that has the same small town feel, but has a new methodology of success. When we look at the county, when we look at Innisfil, when we look at Red Deer, they all go about it in different ways. Our way has been building this strong sense of community, and I think that's continually a method of success. I would like to see more business here, and I also would like us to keep our small town charm, as some of my stellar fellow candidates have already elaborated on. But 20 years from now is what we all do together. So together, let's build a better town, and if elected to serve as your councillor, I will always be open-eared as to how we can do that. Thank you.
Brandon Pringle.
You know, there's a famous saying, planting trees under which you will never get to sit. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here. My grandson, sadly, I'll try not to cry in front of you, but he just went to Japan on us for a couple of years now, so we won't see him for a couple of years. I think I bring a little bit of a unique perspective to this because I lived in Calgary and I'm connected to people in Airdrie, and there's a big war going on there right now. A lot of people are very upset about the encroachment of Calgary and the impact of crime and other things in small communities. And the people that in Airdrie didn't want to be in Calgary, that's why they're there. So if we have a good vision for Penfold for the future, we need to put things in place right now that is going to keep Red Deer at bay and keep this small town feel and safety in the community. So thank you.
All right, so now we are going to do each candidate will get a different question here. So Samantha Miller will be up first. Your question is, if you are elected, what attributes of yours do you feel would complement the council team and our community?
Very good question. I think one of my biggest attributes would be listening, hearing what everyone has to say. More importantly, working as a team. Because when a community comes together, things happen. When we're divided, nothing happens. Thank you.
All right, and Mike Dodman, how can we continue to make our property taxes more competitive with other communities in central Alberta?
Wow, you have a different question. Wow.
I tried to just be as random as I could.
From my former experience on council, I would have to say the only way to bring property taxes down is to bring more business in. The more commercial, the less burden on the average taxpayer. So as we did then, we built the multiplex to draw people here. That draws businesses. So we got to keep growing at a slow and steady rate, bring more business, and with the council's help, maybe we can make it a little better. Thank you.
All right, Rob Burton, what are some ideas you have to encourage commercial growth in town?
That's not the next one on the list. I know, I'm going down.
Commercial growth comes from community strength. And so as we continue to build the community, as it continues to grow, there's of course the typical answers, the incentives for having people grow in the community or having tax exemptions and things like that. But really, the more connected people are to their community, the more likely they are to build their community and to plant the business and to make things happen in here. So it's that the community growth, the entrepreneurship that's going to happen in town, the opening of new facilities, the new businesses are going to come to town because they're connected to the community, because they have that neighborly feeling. And I know that's a recurring theme in what I've said tonight, but that's how I feel. It's about building those neighborhoods and building the community. And with that community, if you have a need for that infrastructure to grow, the infrastructure will grow. As the community grows, people will come to town because businesses need to sell things to people and they need to service people. So it goes hand in hand. There's a connection between the two of them. Build the people, build the community, build the industry. That's my take on it.
All right, Cameron Galiski, Penhold Seniors population is growing while more young families are moving in as well. Please share your thoughts on how our community might respond to these different populations.
Thank you for the excellent question, Mike. So when it comes to a growing community of very diverse demographics of both young and old ages, we have to prioritize what is the common thread that brings them all together. What brings them to our town? What makes them stay in our town? Well, as a resident since 2009, let me tell you, what it is ultimately, as many have already alluded to, our community spirit. But also we need to make sure that in a modern environment where municipalities are competing with each other, we're also making sure that everyone has opportunities well into the future here. I understand that development of seniors housing is a particularly important issue, and that's something I'm going to be working towards very adamantly. But I also know when it comes to amenities for younger families, the direction we're going in, such as the funding of a new middle school alongside provincial assistance, goes a long way to retaining more folks in town. As we continue to bring more opportunities and commerce into Penhold, one priority we should make sure is that we're retaining these people in town. Many of the folks in my generation ended up moving to Calgary or Edmonton because of educational or employment opportunities. If we're going to have more folks staying around in our town, we need to continue attracting commercial developers and interests. That'll happen to give us some quality jobs and perhaps let us compete in the Central Alberta ecosystem. Thank you very much.
Okay, Brandon Pringle, what are the biggest fiscal challenges in our municipality and what do you envision as the best ways to address them?
Biggest fiscal challenges, if you look at Harvard studies, you'll find that if you tax people over 33%, it's a net drain on the economy. So Europe's tried this. Wealth tax, all this other stuff, they spend a ridiculous amount trying to track it and just make a mess. You can't tax people more than 30%, period. Build it and they will come. The best thing we need to do is try to look at, just because we've had this budget and this has been the budget for years and years and years, that does not mean that everything at the department is being run efficiently. I know. I came from 2 different companies that they didn't even give you a pen. You had to bring your own pen to work. I think that's a little overdo it, but there is a principle in there, and that's why these 2 companies are extremely successful. So we need to look for efficiencies, and we need to do the best we can to bring that tax rate down, because if that tax rate is down, people are going to be attracted because it's going to be good to do business here. Thank you.
Sorry, Samantha Miller, what does collaboration with other levels of government and other municipalities look like to you? And I will ask for an example if you have one, understanding that some of you might not, because some of this is new to you. So we can ignore the example part. But what does collaboration with our provincial government, federal government, and with our regional neighbors look like to you?
I think collaboration is coming together, united. Communication is a big key, because if you're not communicating with one another and the left foot's doing something other than what the right foot's doing, well, nothing's going to get done. So I think coming together at meetings, supportively, collaboratively, connectively, that's what's going to help our economy, whether it be our small town or whether it be our city, our province, and our country.
Okay, Mike Dodman. I will give you, where was it there? Sorry, this one. What are your top 3 election promises to this community for the remaining 2 years on the term, and how are you hoping to accomplish these?
Whoa, my top 3, wow. Well, one, as a single member of council, I can't make any promises. I know what I'd like to see, and so I'll go with that. Council always works collaboratively, so that once a decision is made, you support the town, the council, the staff, and you get on with it. I would have to say, always the first wish is to look for ways to cut taxes. I know that's not always possible in a small town with limited resources. Number 2, I'd really like to see those sidewalks. The old brick ones. Honest to goodness, I ran on that exact thing in 2007, the brick sidewalks. So, sorry, had to bring it up. And 3, really, just maintaining the status quo, slow and steady, making sure we're not overextended. That would be my 3.
And as I said, some of you are going to get the same question. So, Rob, if you are elected, what attributes of yours do you feel would complement the council team and our community?
Thanks. I like this question. I'm a collaborator and I'm an innovator. I've been a teacher for a lot of years. It's about collaboration and innovation. It's about listening to people, bouncing ideas off of people, working well with a team. And the council, as I understand them so far, that's how they run. There is a lot of really good conversation. It doesn't have to be heated debate. It isn't about argument. It's about what's doing best for the community. So it's not me coming in and stirring things up. It's me coming in and sharing some fresh perspective and new ideas. And that's what I have. I have the ability to communicate, make connections with people, and innovate and come up with new approaches to problems. And that's what I would bring to the council. That's my take. Thanks.
Cameron Gillespie, do you support publicly funded recreational facilities or areas, and do you think they should be funded from other sources?
Thank you for the excellent question. Of course, I believe that these recreational facilities provide a public value and a public good. And I think Penhold has done very good in recent years in building up our trail system to make sure that for future generations, there's an enjoyment of the general environment of Penhold, which is one I'm very familiar with. When I first moved to Lincoln Street in 2009, the entire area south of us was just gopher holes. So now seeing all this development, it's wonderful, but it's also good to keep that environment and area that I grew up in for future generations as well. And I think when it comes to public funding, the supports we've provided are currently adequate, but I'd love to work with the rest of council and find ways that we might be able to consolidate these gains and further them, or perhaps even find alternative ways of having them funded. I'm very open-eared and I'm looking forward to hearing about it further. Thank you.
Brandon Pringle, what are some ideas you have to encourage commercial growth in town?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I already touched on trying to get taxes down, and it's easy to just say, hey, I just want to lower taxes. I mean, I've been reading the municipal bylaws, and they say, well, you got to learn a lot about actually why the current council has all these things in place to begin with. So I'm not going to stand up here and say, hey, I've got all these special ideas because these guys have been doing it wrong all this time. I have to work with the council diligently to discover what are the main challenges. But really, it gets down to taxes. And however we need to do, if there's not enough developers, and we need to encourage developers to sell some of their land to other developers, so it's not just two developers that are kind of keeping a lid on everything here. I mean, there's a number of ways and things that we can look at. So thank you.
Okay, so to give the candidates an update, we've done 3 questions now. We'll do one more random question, and then the final question on there, everyone will get asked again. And then we'll move on to closing remarks and just a bit of general discussion with people in the audience. Okay, sorry, where are we? Samantha Miller, what are the biggest fiscal challenges in our municipality, and what do you envision as the best ways to address them?
Good question. Don't really know how to answer that one. I think one of our physical challenges is inclusivity. By including everyone, I think we can get different perspectives. Yeah, I'm kind of stumped on this question, to be perfectly honest. So, yeah, and I invite other people to give me ideas of what their take would be on that question. Anyone? Going. All right, thanks.
I understand some of these questions might be putting people on the spot, and that's okay too. If any of you are successful, there's a ton to learn, and that's half the job. It's just learning. So it's just great that you're all up here answering questions. So, okay, Mike Dodman. Penhold Seniors population is growing while more young families are moving in as well. Please share your thoughts on how our community might respond to these different populations.
All right, we'll start with the young families first. I actually had the opportunity to talk to someone who lives in Oxford Landing, and she mentioned there's no park over there. So with developers and the town, I'm sure we can figure something out. But the young people, I think it's happening right now. You're getting a new middle school, the high schools here, the elementary schools here. You got K-12 in a small town, which is incredible. And that's all due to the previous councils, many of them, having the foresight to build for the future. But really, so the young, it's coming, and there's always ways to improve, but the town has been doing a fantastic job. So I think the young, if we can lower taxes, of course, we'll make young families very happy. But seniors, we have to work collaboratively with whether it's provincial or federal or developers or whatever to get more seniors housing in town. But I don't know if we have the capability of doing it by ourselves. So I think we would have to be very, very bullish in talking to the province and the feds and all that good stuff. Thank you.
Cameron Galiski, what are your top 3 election promises to this community for the remaining 2 years on the term, and how are you hoping to accomplish these?
Thanks for the fantastic question. My 3 promises and my 3 commitments to you are to always champion affordability in this community. It's what brought my family here. It's what's kept my family here. And fighting for that will be very important to me. Making sure that our taxes remain at the same rates, if not lower. Making sure that the cost of living here does not accelerate with the cost of living elsewhere. Making sure as well that I believe also bringing a collaborative spirit to council. That would be another one of my campaign priorities and promises. Over my time in public service and life, I've been able to make a tremendous amount of friends up and down this province. And I believe bringing that experience and leveraging it on behalf of our town will make sure that Penhold has a seat at the table for any discussions in our region, perhaps even the full province. And I also believe another priority of mine will be making sure that while we're also attracting business, it comes back time and time again. How do we make sure that the mill rates in town remain lower or at the same rate? You have to make sure there's alternative revenue coming in. Blackfalds and Penhold grew at comparable paths in the past decade, but whereas Blackfalds took an approach of continuing to court them and building all this housing, we've taken an approach of focusing on our services. That's outstanding. But I think if we try to take a chip off the old block from our neighbors up north, we might be able to find some new methods and means that'll be able to get the revenue in town that we so desperately need to reduce the tax rates on the people. I know how expensive life is here, and of course, with the recent years, it's challenging even more so and more so. But I believe together, working with council, bringing that spirit of collaboration, bringing that understanding of how we can grow our economy, I think those would be my promises. As Mike has eloquently put earlier, as a single councillor, you can only promise so much. But what I promise is to bring my best every single time to all of these matters. Thank you.
Brandon Pringle, how can we continue to make our property taxes more competitive with other communities in central Alberta?
Did ask for some care.
Did I miss you? Yeah, but that's okay. Okay, well, we'll get back to Rob. I'm listening.
Thanks for that.
He gets 2 questions now.
Thanks for that question. We've gotten so used to the government being the solution to everything, so that's just what we expect. And that's why we're in such a mess. When this country started, the government was responsible from a very basic few things. Negotiating with other countries and protection of the country, having a standing army. That was just about all the government did. Capitalism filled in all those holes. And it was great. But now it's reversed. The government is 10 times the size as it was when I was a kid. And the problems are 10 times as worse. The solution is not bigger government. The solution is to minimize as much as possible Penhold employee government and having them running their own business. And that'll guarantee that's going to bring taxes down, and you're going to have a lot happy business owners as well. So thank you.
And my apologies to Rob Burton. I had his name scratched off, but okay. Final of the 4th questions to Rob Burton. Do you support publicly funded recreational facilities or areas, or do you think they should be funded from other sources?
I think, of course, that it needs to be publicly funded. It needs to be something that is covered by the municipality, covered by the provincial government, covered by the Chinook Side School Division, where it can be. So on the one hand, I'm going to waffle a little bit. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to talk a little bit about it. Yes, government funded, it's really important, but I feel that a lot of those things, that the infrastructure, the building of community, of parks and rec, can also fall in the hands of individual communities. So getting a group of people together, getting the neighborhoods together and saying, hey, let's chip in a hand and go work on this project together, building a playground together. My wife taught at Beacon Hill in Sylvan Lake for a bunch of years. And at the time, the playground wasn't funded. There was zero funding. And so her school fundraised the money to build the playground, and her staff in the school community, all the parents, all the volunteers, all the people chipped in and built the playground themselves. When you have the community coming together to help build a community structure like that, you own it, right? As a community, that's your baby, that's your playground with your name on it that you put the time and blood and sweat and tears into, and it becomes something that you value and you treasure and you own. So yes, I think that the government should be putting money into these facilities, but I also think that it falls in the hands of the community to be able to lend a hand and build these things ourselves. That's my take on it.
Okay, fifth question, and this one will be for all of the candidates. We'll have an opportunity to answer this. What do you feel is to be your toughest challenge being on council for the remaining 2 years on the term, and why?
I think my toughest thing to be on council is the shoes I've had to fill. We definitely have lost a valued member of our community. So replacing those shoes would take a lot of trust, gaining the trust of everyone in town, showing what my accomplishments are, showing what I'm capable of doing, and most importantly, working together with council.
Mike Dodman.
Biggest challenge. Getting back up to speed would be the hardest part. It's progressed a little bit in the last 15 years, but for the most part, the toughest challenge is just being calm and being aware of the town feeling and bringing that to council. Thank you.
Rob Burton.
Because it's a by-election, the coming into the middle of the process, I think is going to be an interesting thing for whichever one of us candidates gets elected. I feel that town council right now runs like a well-oiled machine. It's their clockwork, and from conversations that I've had with some of the councillors, it's a whirlwind when you first hop in, but they've got it clicking along nicely. So getting up to speed and finding my role and my niche in their council up to this point, finding how I fit in that clockwork would be what I feel is the toughest challenge. Figuring out where my place, how to listen, what the acronyms mean. Conversations we had the other day, finding my way around and in the whirlwind of the 2 years until the next election. So yeah, that's my take. Yeah, thanks.
Cameron Galiski.
Well, I'd like to take a chip off both of my colleagues' blocks here and say the toughest challenge will probably be filling Mike Walsh's shoes. He's been a brother I consider and a friend for a very long time, and he's dearly missed. And Mike, if you're watching this, I hope you're ready to grab some ears and be the vice principal. I know you can be. I know you can do it. But additionally, I think one of the challenges will be making sure, as the others have also illustrated, is making sure I'm caught up to speed on all the matters. Council has done some outstanding work they deserve credit for over the last 2 years. And while I believe I have the collaborative mindset and an unfortunate understanding of these acronyms you speak of, there is, I believe, opportunities for me to leverage that new experience and bring that to council to help finish the term strong. And then, of course, re-election in 2 years. Thank you.
Brandon Pringle.
Thanks for that question. Yeah, for sure. I mean, getting up to speed. I mean, when I was in school, I read 800 to 1,000 words a minute. So that's been helping me a lot going through all the paperwork that I've had to do to prepare for this event. There's a interesting thing in the States. They were trying to protect the burrowing owl. And so they made all these rules and regulations to protect the burrowing owl. Now, and what it did is collapsed the value of the farmers' fields. They couldn't do anything with them and they couldn't sell them. So any smart farmer, would erase any trace of the burrowing owl on his property. So his property wasn't worthless. So the people that were also gung-ho didn't understand the unintended consequences of things that they were putting in place. They didn't care about the farmer. They only cared about their agenda. So I think one of the most important things I can bring to the table is working with council to ensure for the future we don't have unintended consequences and keep enjoying the great, wonderful community that we've all known growing up. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. I know that that can sort of put you on the spot. But that's part of the fun when you're in this position. Is sometimes you have to think on your feet. So we are running pretty good on time. So we did have 1 minute allotted for closing remarks. I'm going to do a bit of an audible here because we've got some extra time before we move into coffee and discussion. So I'll say you can have up to 3 minutes per because I know some of you had more you wanted to say in your openings. So we'll start back with Samantha Miller, and yeah, you can have up to 3 minutes for your closing remarks, and then we'll move on.
Okay, so my first thing is I'd like to take this opportunity to commend council, Mayor Mike, and a wonderful CAO for the fantastic job that we've done in this community. They've been dedicated, and their accomplishments and achievements should be well commended. Thank you. So some of the things that they have done, whether people know or not, is from the multi-packs, the solar panels, the beautification projects, the green spaces, walking trails, the new fire chief. New schools are among the various accomplishments that this town have come up with, and I'm quite impressed, especially in such a short period of time. The community coming together, fundraising, creating a beautiful park for children, the skate park to the inclusive park. The community coming together and creating this accomplishment just goes to show what a collective community can accomplish. I can only hope that I'm elected so that I can have a voice on council for our community. But even if I'm not, I'm proud to call Penhold my new home. I will also continue to do my part to support this community and to contribute. So thank you all for your support, your partnership, and for thinking about our future.
Mike Dodman.
Well, I gotta say, thank you for having us, to fellow candidates, good luck. My final statement, as is always, bring common sense to the table, listen to the people, and remember, it's their money, not ours. Thank you.
Rob Burton.
Listen and learn. That's what I took away from this. I hope that you folks have learned as much this evening about what we have to offer as potential candidates, and I hope that you've learned as much as I have this evening. I've never been through this process before. This is fairly new to me. I'm reasonably good at collaborating. I'm reasonably good at innovating. I love working with people. I love that mindset, but I love learning. And so that one of the things I'm looking forward to if you folks choose me as your potential candidate. Can't wait to get into town council meetings and actually learn about what really makes a town run, what makes things tick. So thank you for that. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience, and enjoy the rest of your summers.
Cameron Gillespie.
Well, to start off, I'd like to say thank you, of course, Your Worship, for your fantastic moderating this evening. Thank you to all of council for finding the time to attend. Thank you, fellow pen holders, for being here to talk about this important time for our community. Over the next 2 years, council will finish a great deal of important work, and I think the question we need to ask ourselves is, who has the most experience in governmental matters to help follow through on these? Who has the experience to build ties beyond our community that will continue to attract more support, investment, and people to this town? I believe I'm the candidate best equipped for this. I'm unfortunately in an abusive relationship with public speaking, so this is my second time going around. I ran 5 years ago. And while I've learned a great deal, my principles remain the same. I'm here to serve you, the people I call my neighbors, my friends, and my family. Thank you, Brian, even for your great work today. I sure as heck could not operate an audio like you. In conclusion, I will give you some words that my father has reminded me of time and time again since I was a young man. You are born with two things in this life, your name and your honor. Well, my name is Cameron Gillespie, and it will be my honor to be your next Penhold councillor. Thank you.
Brandon Pringle.
Usually they don't, thank you, Mayor. They usually don't give me enough time to speak, so I'm kind of like, what do I say now? I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a grandfather. My grandson is in Japan right now, but we have one on the way. My son and his daughter are expecting as well. I love this community. I've lived in the area for 8 years now, Penhold for 4. Oh boy, if just don't tell anybody from Springfield, but we love it here. And when I talk to people and they say, you know, because we used to live in Calgary as well. I grew up in a town of 5,000 people. And Winston Churchill said, the farther you look into the past, the farther you can see into the future. And so what I bring to Penhold is a real desire to serve and have the same kind of place for my grandbabies that I get to enjoy now. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. I'm really handsy, so sometimes you gotta watch that with this. And again, thank you to Brian Constantine as well for organizing the online part and the audio. So being elected is a privilege and an honor, as well as a great responsibility. Whoever wins, whichever one of you 5, will be thrown into it quite quickly because we are really getting into our busy season. It's going to be fun. It's going to be busy. There's going to be a lot of work to do. I look forward to working with whoever is elected. I want to thank you all for putting your names forward, and good luck to you all in this race. Now we're going to just move on to some coffee and discussion. The candidates will be here. If you'd like to speak to anyone, just come up. I'm sure they'll be walking around mingling as well. And thank you all for coming. Thank you all for tuning in online. This seems like a good turnout. I don't know what we had for our online group, but it's always, by-elections are a tricky thing to get people out and engaged. So the fact that you're here tonight taking part in this is kudos to you guys. Thank you all for coming. Have a good night.